Welcome back, Sebastian here. So time for my review for the race 2 for the 2023 Formula E Rome ePrix. And this was a race that had absolutely massive implications on this year's Drivers' Championship. So let's start right away. Dennis starting on pole and Cassidy alongside. And with Dennis getting pole, he's now only 2 points behind Cassidy in the championship going into this race. It was a really good start by Dennis. And Nato also managed to stay ahead of Evans, who tried to go alongside. Nato also got up into second place at turn 8, and Tictum, meanwhile, was up to P6. Cassidy then reclaimed P2 at turn 3 of basically the same lap, because they basically do the lap 1.5 times to count it as a full lap. Evans then tries to go around for a move for second, but doesn't make it stick. And then second lap, this is when it happens, the big moment of the race. Evans and Cassidy collide going on the run up to turn 7. So basically, Evans just gets the braking a little wrong. Dennis, I guess, braked a little bit earlier than he was expecting, and he basically got the car sideways, and he kind of lost grip, and he basically just slid right into the back of Cassidy, and with so much force, they actually ended up going over Cassidy and into the barrier and kind of back down on all 4 wheels. That both cars were able to continue, but Evans was right into the pits for repairs. Let's see, and because of the concertina effect from that collision, Jeb and Wehrlein both broke their front wing. So another bad break for Wehrlein, the 4th contender in the championship. And this brought up the safety car as well, which came in a couple laps later on lap 4, and that was just to make sure all the debris and stuff was cleared. Lap 4, drivers started to use attack mode, and lap 5, after pitting during the safety car, trying to fix some things on the car, Evans pits to retire the car. So it goes from having an outside chance at the title to having very, very slim odds, but he's still mathematically in it. Nato then damages his front wing, clipping the back of Dennis. Lucky that there was no other damage there. And lap 7, Jeff pits for a new front wing. Lap 8, Dennis tries to start building a gap on the cars behind, but he has less energy than Bird, so he's having to be very careful with how he uses his energy. And at this point, they showed the energy readings for the first time. Bird was at 72% and Dennis was at 70%, so Bird had a little bit better energy at this point. Dennis takes his first attack mode and stays in first as well. Lap 9, Dennis goes straight on at turn 7, and Cassidy moves up to 11. So even though Cassidy was basically shuffled all the way back to 21st, I believe, after the incident with Evans, he's up to 11th place fairly quickly. Lap 10, Buemi overtakes Tictum at turn 10 for P4. So good move there by Buemi. Lap 11, Bird starting to put pressure on Dennis. So Bird had a much more efficient car, I thought, in the race. I think he didn't make the most of that car, but that being said, Dennis was doing an excellent job of defending in the key areas where he needed to. Lap 12, Bird had 57%, Dennis 55%, so still 2% gap for Bird. And at this point, there was contact between Degrassi and Wehrlein, and Degrassi kind of ended up hitting the barrier, and he basically kind of ripped a bit of the Tech Pro barrier, and he pits to retire the car. Nato and Dennis both take attack mode, and they stay in first and second, which is really important for them, and it was a really kind of a bad moment for Bird, who really needs to get ahead of Nato if he wanted to have any chance of getting Dennis. Lap 16, Bird 39%, Dennis 36%. Lap 18, Bird uses, basically, this was a bit of a funny moment. Bird basically asked Buemi on team radio for him to hold up the Venturis behind, so that when he takes attack mode, he stays ahead of them. So a bit of a funny call there. It was never going to work because, even though they are both using Jaguar powertrains, they are different teams and they are in competition for that team's championship. And ironically enough, both end up taking attack mode that lap. Lap 20, 22% for Dennis and 24% for Bird. No added laps. I guess the safety car was too short, so they couldn't justify adding more laps to that. So it would only be the 24 laps, which was one less than yesterday. Final lap, Bird continuing to really harry Nato. But that being said, Nato was doing a really great job of defending. And Nato has 1% left on the final lap, with sector 3 to go, so it was very, very close for him. But Dennis manages to take the checkered flag, take the win, fastest lap as well. And Nato had manages to hold on for P2, his first podium in the season, and Nissan's first podium as basically an independent works outfit in Formula E. So let's take a look at the race result. I believe you can kind of see, I'm just gonna fix that there. There you go. Now you can see the bottom of the board. So absolutely massive win by Dennis. I believe the commentators were saying it was the first win in the Gen 3 era from lights to flag with fastest lap as well and pole as well, which he gets. So he gets the maximum 29 points from the weekend. Nato second, Bird third, Mortara fourth, Buemi fifth, Gunther sixth. Fairline manages to recover to seventh, but that being said, his championship is still pretty much finished. 8th Van Doren, 9th Ticktum, great points for him. 10th Muller somehow getting points again in the apt. 11th Hughes, 12th DaCosta, a bit of a scruffy race for him. 13th Rast, 14th Cassidy. The incident, I would give basically almost all of the blame to Evans. Cassidy was basically just a passenger there, but that being said, I thought he recovered the best he could. Did drop down from that 11th place that he was at one point, but that was probably because of other drivers taking attack mode. 15th Lauderer, 16th Jev, 17th Seti Kamara, 18th Fenestraz, not really sure what happened to him. Your retirements were Frines and Mary, who both retired. I didn't see that happen. 21 Degrassi, who also retired with that wheel issue, with the after the contact with the wall, and of course Mitch Evans, who caused that lap 2 crash with Cassidy. So taking a look at the Drivers' Championship, Dennis has a whopping 24-point lead over Nick Cassidy, so he's in a very, very good shape going into the final races at his home Grand Prix, or not Grand Prix, ePrix in London, in I believe 2 weeks time, I believe. Or maybe it's 3 weeks. Cassidy second, 171 points. He's still in this. 24 points is doable, but it would be a big ask. Third, Mitch Evans, who's now 44 points behind. He basically needs 2 wins, and he needs Dennis and Cassidy to get very, very few points. Especially Dennis, he needs like almost no points for Dennis. Fourth, Fairline, 146. Again, very similar to Evans. Mathematically still there, but realistically not really there, and it's now basically a 2-horse race in the championship. That's what that blue line is there. I forgot to do it for the video yesterday, but so be it. 5th Jev, 107 points. 6th Gunther, 101. 7th DaCosta, 93. 8th Buemi, 82. 9th Bird moves up with 77 points. Actually, no, I believe he stays in 9th, but really good point total for him. Nato definitely moves up to 10th. 47 points, first podium of the year. 11th Van Doren, 46 points. 12th Hughes, also 46 points. Rast, 13th with 40 points. 14th Fenestraz with 32 points. 15th Mortara with 29. 16th Degrassi with 24. 17th Lauderer with 23. 18th Ticktum with 20. 19th Seti Kamara with 14th. 20th Muller with 11. 21st Roland with 9. Of course, isn't even the championship anymore. 22 Frines with 6, and then Mary, Van der Linde, and Beckman all with 0. Just taking a look at the team's championship, Envision leads with 253 points. Porsche second with 239. Second with 239. Jaguar third, 228. And Andretti fourth, 218. I believe Andretti are still mathematically in that, but still a really big ask, especially since it's effectively been a one-man team all year. So I think it's really gonna be between Envision, Porsche, and Jaguar to end the year. Penske 153, Maserati 130, McLaren 86, Nissan was 79 points, got some good points today. 9th, Neo passed Mahindra with 34, Mahindra 33, so 1 point back. So that's definitely going to be a battle to watch going into London, seeing who can get 9th in the championship. And then of course rounding out the team's championship, and I think will remain there for to the end of the year, is Apt. So a pretty good race, I thought. A bit more. It reminded me a bit of which race was it? I believe Jakarta. Yeah, Jakarta. Where basically you had the 2 races. One they had longer laps, and the one they had shorter laps. And actually the longer lap, the race with more laps, I felt was a bit more exciting. I think there's a bit more energy management, and the cars were closer together, and there's a bit more, few more battles for the lead. Whereas generally with the races have less laps, the cars can go flat out more, and there's less battles. So I do think that I do prefer the races with more laps, but that being said, I understand that other people have the preference the other way. So that being said, a really interesting race, absolutely fantastic result for Dennis, and there was that contact between Evans and Cassie, which has massive implications on the championships. So of course, as always, I'll be back tomorrow with my power rankings after the Rome ePrix. So please stay tuned and watch that if you can. And if you want to do that, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Goodbye.